This video is going to quickly go through the concept of foreshadowing. You can see right on my subtitle that this kind of indicates when you know something is going to happen before it actually happens, because the author has given you some kind of hint as to what's coming up. A lot of times this is something fairly negative. It doesn't absolutely have to be, but a lot of times you get a sense that something bad is going to be happening in the future. We call that foreshadowing. So it says foreshadowing refers to the hints you receive from the author about what will happen later. It often indicates that something bad is going to happen. So it is a warning before something actually happens in the story. The reason I have this in all caps is because you can think of like the part of the word for, as it's happening before what is actually coming up later. You can also think of it like a shadow, like it represents something else. You have an idea of what's going to happen, but only once you can actually see it do you know exactly what it is. Okay, kind of like a shadow. You can kind of tell that it's a person, but then if you actually look at the person, you get a better sense of who they are. Anyway, horror movies and stories often use this to create suspense and put you on edge. They give you some hints, but they don't give too much away, so you have a good idea of what's coming up, but you don't know exactly what will happen. Those little hints that you get early on are called foreshadowing. So these are some examples of foreshadowing. So the final graveyard flower is blooming and its smell drifts through their house, speaking gently the names of their dead. Okay, so this scene kind of foreshadows that death is approaching. Okay, the evening was still. Suddenly a cool breeze started blowing and made a windy night. This foreshadows a thunderstorm. Okay, so the weather is starting to change. It also, because thunderstorms are kind of like rocky times, it might foreshadow difficulty ahead. Okay, so it's going from something that's very still and calm to something that's very stormy. It might be representing what's happening in their life. They hoped there would not be more bodies, however, they could not believe themselves. Okay, so since they can't believe themselves, this foreshadows that there will be more murder. An old man opens his drawer to find a magnifying glass and sees a revolver. So seeing a gun in your drawer obviously is not something you want to see. So it might foreshadow how that person's life is in danger. It might also foreshadow some kind of warning that they should defend themselves, so they should take the revolver, something like that. In the middle of the night, the father hears the back door opening. He rushes to check on his kids, and they are fine. He guesses he has been acting a bit paranoid. So this foreshadows some danger for the children, okay, because it seemed like they were going to be in danger, but then they weren't. Or it could also foreshadow some kind of irrational behavior done out of fear. Okay, so he acted really paranoid here. He's probably going to do that again later on, and maybe it'll end badly for someone. Okay, so actually know if it is foreshadowing, you need to know kind of what's coming up. So that makes it a little bit tricky. Okay. As you read through the story The Birds by Daphne du Maurier, which is the inspiration for the Alfred Hitchcock movie. I don't know if a lot of you know it, but it's older. It's pretty famous as a suspense/horror movie. But anyway, in this story, there will be a lot of good examples of foreshadowing. And you'll also see some of the concepts we've already gone through come up again. To actually identify the foreshadowing, you have to be thinking ahead. Okay, so I will tell you now that the story is not going to end on a happy note. In any way, things are going to go very poorly for the characters in this story. And you want to watch for, or you want to listen for anything that is really strange that's going on, that seems out of the ordinary. Okay? So any description that makes it seem like things are out of the ordinary and kind of strange will be foreshadowing strange things coming up. Anything you see that shows that well, I'll just be clearer on this. In the story, somebody is going to offer somebody a gun to protect themselves, and the character will come right out and say that that is ridiculous and that's not going to help at all. Okay, so that's going to foreshadow people trying to defend themselves without any success later on. And then you'll also hear people talking about basically how the future is going to change, like maybe something won't matter in 2 days. And the idea there is that in 2 days, things are going to be really bad. So you're going to hear people saying things like that as well, which would be foreshadowing, again, some negative events up ahead. So as you read, be listening for those types of things that seem strange, things that seem like things are going to get worse in a little bit, or like people are going to have trouble defending themselves. Okay, and that should help you. If you still can't figure it out as you're reading, please talk to me. Thank you.